Welcome to the Best One for Nick podcast. My name is Nick Glimsdahl, and my guest this week is Chris Olexa. He has a great story, and I'm looking forward to digging into this. He's got a lot of wisdom, not just on hospitality, but guest experience, leadership, and perseverance. So let's just run right into it. This is what Chris does. So, Chris, welcome to the Press One for Nick podcast.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the invite. Excited to share some stuff with you.
Absolutely. You and me both. So, before we get started, at the very beginning, I ask every single guest, what's one thing people might not know about you?
So one thing that people are pretty surprised with after they kind of hear our story and see where we've came from and where we're at today is I basically didn't go to college, and it's kind of a honor for me myself though. But went to pretty much 1 year of school and realized there's no pictures in the books, and I couldn't afford it. So I said, okay, I got to get out and start making some money. And the second thing, a lot of people are surprised. We shared this with you recently, but over 12 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. I had not the best prognosis, but here I am today, living life and enjoying every minute of it, man. So yeah, it's two things.
It's a lot. And I want to get into that whole part of persevering too, because it's not just about living life, but how do you get through it?
Yeah.
And there's it's a mindset, if anything, from the beginning. So for a guy who didn't have a whole lot growing up, you kind of are focused more on the hospitality side, and I respect that. Anybody who spends time in retail and or hospitality, you're dealing with people, you're engaging with people, and it's the good and the bad and the ugly. So I want to hear your story about how you kind of got started in that hospitality side of the business.
Yeah, so getting in the hospitality side, I guess if you meet me in high school, you people meet me today like, man, you're not the same guy, and I'm not because we all go through life and we kind of transform in different sections in our life to who we are. And when I was really introduced was hospitality was my first time was being a buggy boy at a grocery store, and I realized really quickly as you carry the groceries out, the more you talk to people and engage with people, the more little tip you got. And back then it was 50 cents, but at the end of the day, you might make $5 and man, that bought your dinner, so that was a while back ago. But so the more you engage with people, and I didn't realize that, but now as you carried your groceries out, you might say the same question or the same thing 10 times, like, hey, the weather's great today. And to the next, like, hey, the weather's great today. But the more you engage with people, you could tell really quickly if they wanted to talk or they didn't want to talk. And that's how you learned how to deal with people in this world today. And, so then as I grew up, kind of, graduated from high school barely, but I worked at a furniture store also. And I started putting furniture together back for a wood furniture store. And we deliver these wood pieces, and we would carry heavy stuff up the stairs. And at one time, the owner of this location came to me and said, "Hey, I want to kind of make you a salesman. You're really good with people." And I said, "Oh yeah, you think, Clint?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, every time he calls me, it gives me a good compliment about you. And I said, "Well, yeah, I carried a 500-pound entertainment center upstairs, me and a couple of guys, and we convinced the customer that scratch looks great because we did not want to carry it back down." And so that kind of that kind of transformed that, and then he ended up, as a salesman then, and I realized right then how you sell furniture and your own commission is just really engaging with people and seeing that personality walk in and understand it right off. Okay, is this going to be a closed off person? Is this going to be a very open minded person, want to chat a lot? And you see that every day today when you engage people. So I think that's how I really started learning the hospitality. And I thought, man, I'm pretty good at this. So yeah, that's how I really started, and then how I got in business. I always wanted to own my own business, and it needed to deal with people because I was good at that. And that's when I bought my first franchise, a Quiznos sandwich shop, and I was 26. Me and my wife purchased our first store. That's when Quiznos was a small little concept. And again, I loved it because I got to talk to people every day, engage with people, and sit out and help them and understand them and what I could do to make their life better. So yeah, that's how I got in this business.
So tell me more about that. You were 26 and you're like,
Yeah.
man, I'm going to save up my pennies and I'm going to get into this business of talking to people, engaging and loving on them. Tell me
Yeah.
about that first project.
Yeah, so there's a long, long story to how I got in this, but real quickly, I don't want to take all our time up on that. But I was born in a situation. My mom and dad divorced. I was a young child. My mom was raised by my mother, who was an alcoholic, didn't have a permanent job, lived on food stamps, lived in a very, very bad neighborhood. But at that point, I realized that I didn't want to live this way. So I always had a drive and ambition to do something with my life special. And I was working, like I said, the furniture store. The guy that owned it was an individual, young kids, great marriage, very successful in this business. And he coached his kid, did everything. And I really wanted to be like that. I wanted a life like that because I didn't have a life like that. So, and my wife, same thing. She was kind of, her mom and dad passed away when she was young. Her mom committed suicide. So she was kind of orphaned a little bit around. And then she was raised by her Southern Baptist grandmother. And we started dating in high school, and she was great in school. I was not. I always made a promise to her that I was going to own my own business one day. I just had a drive that I wanted that, and I was never jealous of successful people. I always looked at people like, man, I'm so proud of you. How did you get there? And I always wanted that. So, I made that promise to her and myself, and as we kind of got married. Again, lived in a very small little house, barely made ends meet. She was going through nursing school, and told me about 24. She said, "Hey, you made me a promise. You're going to own business one day." And I said, "Oh yeah." I'm still doing that. I was still working at that furniture store. I moved up to be a manager there, so I kind of learned how to run a business also too. So in that time, somehow somebody sent me a message and said, "Hey, look at the sandwich shop, it's Quiznos." Never thought I'd be in the hospitality restaurant side. So I kind of started looking at it. Me and my wife drove to one. It was about an hour away from our hometown, and they probably thought we were going to rob them one day because we sat there for hours just watching them as we ate our sandwich and kept getting a refill. But I said, I could do this. I could do this. So we saved every penny we had and went to the bank and applied for the franchise rights. And bank said, you need X amount of money down. And we didn't have that much. So we went back and saved a little bit more and pretty much put our life savings down on this first Quiznos sandwich shop, quit my job. And, the day we opened, I didn't know how we are going to really make ends meet. And God blessed us. And there's a line out that door all day, every day. And I worked there every day for 2 years. And it really taught me a lot about the business and what it takes to be in this kind of business. And we opened our second store up, and then it just started rolling from there. So, yeah, that's how I got into that.
Wow. So what does it take? So it's not just easy peasy. You flip the lights on, customers come in, you feed them, and you make a bunch of money. There's a ton of lessons learned that you've gone through, the ups and downs, the hiccups, the success. So walk me through that first journey, the frustration and the excitement, and then hey, you know what? We have the opportunity now to open up that second franchise. Walk me through that.
Yeah, so I think as I opened really quickly, I understood. I back up real quick. So the first day I opened, there was a line out the door all day, and they had trainers there. And I came home about midnight, 11 o'clock that night. I grabbed a salad out of the cooler, and that's what I ate for dinner. And we had just had our first child, and he was probably I can a year old at that time. And my wife came out of the bedroom, and I was sitting at the dining room table, and we lived in a very small little condo, I guess you say townhouse. And she came in there, and I was crying, and she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I don't think I can do this, Kim." There were people at the door all day. They were wanting their sandwiches. They were frustrated because the line was moving slow. The trainers weren't, moving fast and stuff. Our employees were kind of messing up sandwiches. I said, "Kim, I don't think we could do this. I can't do this." And she basically looked at me and said, "Well, we got to do it. We just signed a big bank loan to do this." So every day I cried less. And about the seventh day, that's when I learned the true thing of putting a Superman cape on, right? You got to do this. It's what your journey is. It's what's for your family and what you chose to do. So And that's when I started really being a perfectionist. Like, I mean, I worked there every day, 7 days a week, and people knew me. They knew my face, and they came in, their sandwiches were perfect. And there's still people see me today. It's like, man, I remember you from Quiznos. And I come in there, that sandwich come out the line, and you'd say, hey, did you have this with no tomatoes? And it would have tomatoes on it. And he'd say, oh, I didn't want tomatoes. I'll say, sir, let me remake it. And he said, you had a garbage can in the back with a target, and I would shoot it in it, it'd fall down and go in it, and we'd remake a sandwich really quickly. But understanding that people's time is valuable and their money's valuable to everybody, and that's really what made me successful. And I think what really drives my business today, to understand that it's the people, right? It's the people
Mm.
that come to give you money, and it's the people that work with you too. That's the most important culture that I could teach my people. It's all about people. And I think when I understood how I did so well in the business is because every person that walked in that door, no matter if they were spending a big takeout order, catering job of $100, or they're just buying a Coke, that person came to give me some money, and they're helping me pay my water bill, because that's what I always tell them. Hey, thank you, you're helping me pay my water bill. It just came in today. And I treated that, every dollar was so important to me, and I treated that to my employees. If you mess up a sandwich, they would throw a sandwich and just throw it away, and I would say, okay, hold on. I'd take $2 out of my pocket, and I'd throw $2 in the garbage can. I said, you just threw $2 in the trash. It's just because it's food product, or spilt Coke, or something that you left out and it went bad. That's money. And that's money to us, our company. That's how I can give you raises. And it's also money to me and how I pay my kids' college one day. It's wasteful. So I think when I taught myself that, taught my staff that's how important every dollar you make, no matter how big a client you have. You never know, that small client can turn out to be one of your biggest clients, or it could be turn out to be one of your biggest investors one day, right? That walks the door. He said, I watched you, how you treated me. How can I help you? And so that's what you always got to know.
Yeah, you never know if there's going to be another Chris out there that buys a sandwich from you and sits in your franchise and just watches you.
Hmm.
And who you are and what you're doing and the success you're having. So you mentioned that it's so important to focus on the customer.
Hmm.
And we talked prior, and you were talking about how the importance of putting the guest at the center of everything that you guys do. And have you always been like that, from lifting the furniture to being the salesperson to being the manager, eventually owning your own business? Has that always been the center, and why
Oh,
why is that?
oh yeah, it is. It's always been the center of me, because, when guests or people that we're trying to sell something to walk into your establishment, you want to make them feel so comfortable. I mean, because I have been uncomfortable in situations, right? Walking into a restaurant, walking into a business, and not feeling the welcomeness, or not feeling that your dollars is as important as anybody else's. It just comes natural to me, because I lived in a situation where again, this is a whole nother episode, where I've been judged by, I guess, my parents, my mother, and my past schooling. I mean, there's a story that's it's going to be a great chapter in my book, how I really got where I got. I was in my principal's office one day. Something happened, and it's a big conference room, and there was a whiteboard on the wall. And we sat down there. Some fight happened, and they want to know who did it. And I was sitting there with three other students, and the principals all walked in, vice principals, and I saw my name on the board. There was like 50 names on this white chalkboard, and dry erase board. And I said, well, "Why is my name on the board?" And they're like, "Hush up, we're talking about this." I said, "No, no, I want to know why my name's on the board." And they said, "Well, that's the dropout list." I said, "Dropout list? How did you ask me to put my name on it?" "No, sir, we don't have to." I'm like, "Oh, so you're judging me, right? You're judging who I am, and just by my past." And yeah, and I said, "Oh, okay." And I told them one thing. I said, society will never dictate me. I promise you. And I'm going to come back and show y'all. And it's so great, because I still see that principal every now and then. And he still shakes his head, he's like, still can't believe it. But so that feeling when people feel like they're being judged, or not treated well, it's so hurtful to me, man. I tell you, I take it pride when somebody complains. And we own multiple restaurants all across different states, and I read almost all the complaints. It hurts my feelings. It does. It really bothers me that somebody felt mistreated didn't get a refill fast enough or what. And I think when you take those in prideful and just don't blow them off as one-offs, I mean, every person's important to me, every dollar we make. So I think that's the end of the day. I've always been about people and understand that's how I got to get where get where I want to get. And it's important to me to treat those guests that way.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. It's all about focusing on that guest experience, focusing on their journey, reducing the friction, creating a great product and service. And everybody can create a great product or service. Everybody can serve chicken, but what are you doing in that experience that's going to make all the difference? People will pay more now for a better experience than they will over that product and price. And I think that's something that most people don't pay attention to.
They don't. I always tell my
So,
guys, in here a lot that as a joke kind of, but you can serve crap on a paper plate to somebody, but if you do it in the nicest way, they're going to come back for 6 months. It's going to take them 6 months to realize, wait a minute, this ain't that good. But they're going to say, but their people are so nice here. I just love coming here. And you hear those stories all the time like that. And I think that's some of the most important thing is treating people great and great hospitality. It's a forgotten art these days.
yeah, I would 100% agree with that. So bringing it back to the people then, the people that are there and creating the best in class. How are you? The market's tough right now for a lot of people. So how are you hiring and training that talent?
Okay, so when you really want to be best in class, I think to judge yourself on a best in class is to when other people are watching you, and then they're calling you and saying, how are you doing it, right? And I think that's what we try to do here. It's like a maverick mindset, right? I mean, Top Gun's the thing right now. I have a shirt back there that says Maverick, I aspire to be. And why do we use that? Because if you ever watch the Top Gun movie, the first one, when Maverick was letting the Meg get in close to him, he said, hey, I'm gonna bring him in closer to him. And the guy in the back said, you're going to do what? He said, watch. And he said, I'm going to hit the brakes and he'll fly right by. That's not in the norm. That's not in the book. And that's what I challenge my guys to be a maverick. Go against the cue, what everybody says. Do something different. Watch that video. We watch that video all the time in our conference room. That's what I challenge you to do. And when you challenge your people that way and give them that mindset that they're able to go out and be a maverick, your really talented people want to be around that. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to be given a vision, and then they want to come up with their own maverick moments, right? At the end of the day, we want to serve all of our guests in the cleanest, most comfortable restaurant. No matter if it's Arby's, Buffalo Wild Wings, whatever it is, Starbucks, whatever. We don't be the most friendliest person and give the best quality that we can. But in what way does that make you? How do you feel like it's your store or your region? Is be a maverick. Come up with some great opportunities to showcase your people, showcase your staff. And that's another thing, great employee, great talent. I mean, I've always tried to hire people way smarter than me that sit around the conference table with me. And that's some leaders, some CEOs have a problem with that, right? And they don't want to have people smarter than them. I want the smartest people around me, way smarter than me around me. And then when you allow them to have that maverick, right, to be that person, just follow my vision, just follow our culture that we want, and then you go out and do your way. Man, you ought to see the people that follow us on LinkedIn now and ask to come work for us now. It's like we're attracting some awesome talent, and it goes all the way down to the servers too and the kitchen staff. When you empower them and showcase them, and no good owner, man, leader, should always take the glory, right? You should want that glory to go to your team. I never take the glory. I always tell my guys all the time, they always say, man, hey, you should when you get on social and you make a comment off one of my comments, my staff goes crazy when somebody gets a promotion. I'll get on there, congratulations, welcome to the herd, welcome to the family. He said, and they'll send me screenshots of people like, man, my staff's going crazy that you comment on there. I'm like, well, Yeah, I want to celebrate that, but I don't want to steal your thunder either. That's your thunder. And when you give your management, your leader team that authority to feel like that it's all them, man, they love it and they'll stay. I mean, yeah, we lose some great people to some other opportunities and we celebrate that if they make a upper move. Now, if they make a lateral move, I bring them in the office. Like, hey, okay, what is it? And we figure it out. Could be salary, could be something. But obviously, to retain great talent, you got to let them do their work, right? You call the play, but you let them go run the play out in the field. And then if they mess up, as long as you fall forward, hey, we're fine. Just don't fall backwards, and let's fix it and let's run another play. Yeah,
I mean, you do the same thing in football,
yeah.
college football, NFL football. It's the coaches design the framework and give you the tools for success, and then it's up to the people on the field, specifically the quarterback, to run that play to a T and guide their team members to that ultimate success. And yeah, you got to make those small inches and make the plays and the blocks and the passes and catches, but then it's what you're going to do in that moment. Let's say something doesn't go according to plan. What are you going to do in that moment, and how are you going to persevere, and how are you going to learn? How are you going to act? Are you going to be a fool and reckless and dropping bombs because it didn't go your way?
Hmm.
Well, let's learn from it. Let's collaborate again. Let's look at the tape, and then let's get back to it. So my question to you, and I wanted to bring it back from the very beginning, is you've been through some times where you didn't catch that proverbial football,
Hmm.
and you went through that cancer. You've gone through multiple hurricanes. Talk to me about what that was like. How are you going through that, and what's your steps, and what's that process?
Yeah, so it's funny you go talk about football. I talk about football a lot. I love football. I was, should have been a football coach if I wasn't what I was doing today. But I always tell our team, never focus on the wins. When you're watching the video, don't focus on the wins. That's a win. We won the day. Focus on the losses. Why did we lose? And that's the video you replay, right? You keep replaying that video. So my mindset of that too is also too is just what the shirt says. It's right. It's into the storm. The day that I was diagnosed with cancer, it was probably the scariest moment in my life because I didn't have a good prognosis. When they started reading me the percentages of the kind of cancer that I had, it wasn't if, it's going to be called when it comes back. And I stopped the doctor. Wait. You're putting me in statistics right now. You're putting me in where you think I should be. My mind said it's over. It's this. I've already beat this. And my wife was sitting there, mouth dropped, like, so upset. And I went home and I told her right then, I said, hey, babe, don't treat me any differently. I want to be the same Chris. Don't treat me like I'm a cancer patient, and don't let anybody treat me any differently. And I said, it's going to be into the storm. And that's this whole motto thing that I have. And that's the culture that I've built. If you know the story about a buffalo, the wild buffaloes in the herd, when a storm comes over the mountains, they turn as a herd and run into it. Other livestock and other animals run away from it. So you can imagine a storm coming and the buffalo runs. So it just goes through the storm. Others run with it. So when you face diversity or face problems, COVID in the restaurant business, you can run from it, right? Or you can kick a wall and say, okay, they're about to shut us all down. What are we going to do to win? And you immediately go to that positive side, right? My glass is always half full. So with cancer, I kind of thought, hey man, this is going to be a great chapter in my life, and I'm going to prove to everybody that anybody can beat this. And so I think that's the mindset I've always had in anything I do. If there's a problem that happens, let's learn from it. Let's fix it and move on and fall forward. Like I said, you fall forward and just face diversity straight on. The faster you get through it, I could have sat there and cried for cancer for the whole 8 months I went through chemo and been a baby about it. But and there's some tough stories with other people that go through that. And I would sit by people in cancer and they'd say, "You don't even look like you're sick." And I'd have this big chemo bag on. I'm like, "What do you mean?" They said, "You don't even look like you're sick." I said, "I'm not sick. I'm just here to make these doctors look good." I'm going to prove to them that I'm not really sick. I think they got my stuff all mixed up with somebody else's stuff, but I'm going to go through it what they tell me to go through it. And they're like, hey, I love your mindset. Yeah, you should have the same. If as soon as you change your mindset, life will be easier. Now, we all don't have the same ending, right? We don't. But you choose to how you live your life is how you choose to live your life. I'm going to live my life with rainbows and unicorns, man. I'm going to just be happy as a lark as long as I'm going to be on earth and try to change as many people's life as I can. So that's kind of how you deal with it because some stuff we can't fix. There's some stuff that's out of our control, but what I can control, I'm going to have fun at it.
Man, that's so cool. I love the mindset because it comes down to it doesn't matter where you're going through. If you're at the top of the storm or you're in the bottom of the valley in the pit, it's your mindset, and you're like, man, what? Yeah, this sucks that I the things that I can't control, but what can I control?
That's
What
right.
what can I focus on? And I can focus on the absolute negative. I can focus on I got this bag on me and I'm sitting in this hospital and I got cancer and the world sucks. Or you could change your mindset. Doesn't, like you said, doesn't guarantee that the end results will mean success. But it will and it all depends on how you measure success. And so maybe that's my question. My next question is how are you at the end of the day measuring success?
I guess success and I get asked that a lot. And, it's funny, a lot of my management asked me that. Like, how do you judge success? And is success, how many restaurants or how much in revenue or how much profits? And I was like, man, I've lived success is what you make it and what you want it to be. Success in my life right now is I live in a nice house, right? I live comfortably. Success is how many people can I bring along with this ride? That's my thing. I really enjoy that the life that I've been given and I've worked hard for, right? But success, I told somebody this the other day. It's like I'm building the ark. Like, I want to invite as many people on this ark as possible. And as many people I can invite on that ark and change their lifestyle. Right. I went to one of my regional managers who didn't has been working for the company a little while, moved here from Florida, just had a baby, and he bought this brand new house and had a gender reveal and he invited it. He sent an invitation to everybody in the company. So me and my wife showed. And first he was kind of shocked that we showed up. He was like, "Oh, Chris and Kim, you're here." It's like, "Yeah, is it okay?" Yeah, we brought a gift and all. But I looked at his house. I was like, holy smokes, dude, this place is beautiful, man. He said, yeah, I just had it built. And he was so proud to show me. And at that moment, I was just like so happy for him. And that's when I go home and really lay my head on on the bed and at night and really feel fulfilled, right? Because now, I changed my lifestyle, who I was supposed to be, and my wife did the same. Now it's our mission to change as many other lifestyles as possible, that they don't have to worry about things, right? Financially, that they can live and buy a nice house and things and live life differently. So I think that's my success, man. Right now, it's not living in a bigger house. It's not having land or property all over across the country. I don't really want that. I want to see everybody enjoy life. And I think my wife is big on the homeless. So we focus a lot on that too. It's just really being out in the community and giving back as much as we can.
I like that, man. I appreciate that the how you measure success because that's not everybody's measurement and it's admirable. So the two questions I have for you at the very
Mhm.
end, this is what book or person and customer service, customer experience has influenced you the most in the past year. So I'll pause there.
Yeah. The person that really influenced me a lot, and it's Tillman Fertitta. He's a restaurant guy out of Houston, Texas. It's not too far from here, and he has a book. It's called Shut Up and Listen, and it's a business book, and it's entrepreneur. He was on a TV show called I can't remember, a billionaire buyer is where he would go help other young entrepreneurs. And I was a young entrepreneur when I first got to meet him too. And I looked up to him as a business guy, right? Not as a personal, personality or how he is, just how he changed a lot of people's lives that worked for him, because he had a ton of people that I got to meet that were living great lifestyles because of him. So, but the book I read was Shut Up and Listen, and it's always, if you read it, it's talked about the paddle, right? It's about the hospitality and the business that the paddle will always come get you. And that means you want a little paddle or big paddle. So you always got to keep your head looking back. Don't get too full of yourself, man. You better stay humble, because there's a way this business in this world can to bring you to your knees, and you want to be prepared for that. And that's one of the questions I get asked a lot too. How do you look in the future? And that's one of the things I've learned too since COVID. Don't look too far in the future, right? When you're doing your forecast to open restaurants, or how you want to grow as a company, COVID showed us all a lesson right there. Don't go too far down the line, because you never know it'll change. But those are kind of the things that I look at. I don't really have a lot of mentors in life, because I go against the queue. I kind of do things differently than anybody else. I study everybody. I see how they do it. Not that they're doing it wrong. I just have a mindset of that I want to be a maverick. I want to do it my way. I'm not going to go off and do it their way. I want to do it my way. But I guess the Shut Up and Listen book was great for me, because it did teach me a lot in this business of definitely being careful what you're doing.
Cool. I will have to check that out.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one yet. So the last question I have for you is, if you could leave a note to every single person, customer service, customer experience, it's going to hit everybody's desk Monday at 8 a.m. What would it say, Chris?
The biggest things that I say, there's a couple of things I say, and I say it to my team all the time. In our business today, if you pay attention to the small things that most people will never see, good things will happen, right? So if you walk in a restaurant, and I teach my guys, walk in your business, whatever it is, you go to your desk or go to your office or whatever it is, and it might be your staff. You might be in the hospitality business, or you might be in a business that's selling online, right? But you have an office. Walk out of your office, take all your whatever you have on, and put your customer clothes on, right? If you're online, look online as a customer, but have the mindset as a customer. We tell our guys, walk out of the restaurant, go through the back door, come through the front door, and now be a customer. What's the bushes look like? What's the front door look like? What's the hostess like? What's the dining room experience? What's it feel like? So I always say that if we pay attention to some of the smallest things that most people will never look at, we'll be super successful, because the big things, obviously, you're going to take care of. And another thing I always say is every rock's in its place. And I tell my managers, when you go up to our front of our restaurants and you see a rock out of a flower bed, because kids were throwing the rocks around, if you make sure every rock's in its place every time you walk outside, I promise you, your windows are going to be clean. Your front windows, where they put the hands on it, your hostess are going to be ready, because that's paying attention to the small things. And last but not least, man, and this goes back, you could probably ask a lot of I could answer this question with a lot of this stuff that people ask me, and you've asked me today is, and I've told this to my team the other day, and they came up, where'd you come up with that? And we're all talking about bigger restaurants, nicer TVs, better uniforms, louder music, better content on the TVs. And I sat there and I was listening to it at the end of this table, and I said, wait. We're forgetting one thing. All that we build in fancy buildings, we can do all we want, but people bring profit. That's it. People bring profit. And that's the people that walk through the door and the people that are on our team. If we treat those two people in the most respect and the hospitality side the best way, we'll be profitable. So you can build a store, fanciest store all day you want. But if you're not nice to people and don't treat your employees great, your staff great, and your customers great, we'll never make a profit. So always remember that in this business, people bring profit. Nothing else does. You can have the best clothes in the world, selling the best items online, but if you don't have the people behind it, man, it's not going to work.
Some sound advice, man. We could keep this thing going on, and might have to do another one in the future. But Chris, what's the best way for people to find you, to find your company, and connect?
Yeah, so we're all over online, Facebook. My company's called Aspire to Be. That's Aspire, the number 2B. You can see our little logo on our hat back there, and we're all over LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and things like that. We're actually about to launch our own podcast here soon too. So more to come on that one. Maybe when we get back on with you before we launch it and share some of that stuff there too. But it's just really going to be a motivational thing too for young entrepreneurs. I do a lot of talks to high schools and young people these days that it's not all about the education you got, right? It's what's in your heart and what's in your mind and what's your motivation behind it, right? And that's how you can be successful. So, I appreciate this opportunity to share a little bit of our story. And thank you so much, Nick.
Yeah, you bet. And for all the listeners, connect with him on LinkedIn. He will be coming out with that podcast in the coming months, and connect with him, subscribe to that, and start listening because he's got plenty more to say. This was just a snippet of 35 minutes. So, Chris, appreciate your time and looking forward to the success you're going to have in the future.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you, man.